There is a very tight gubernatorial race in Florida. Former Republican Governor Charlie Crist, who quit the GOP to become an independent, and then he quit being an independent, now as a Democrat, is challenging incumbent Republican Governor Rick Scott. According to the latest Real Clear Politics average of polls, Crist leads Scott by just over a percentage point. Former Senator George LeMieux was Crist's chief of staff when he was governor, but now he's backing Rick Scott. Full disclosure, I've endorsed Rick Scott as well, so I didn't want anybody, I'm sure people figured that out. But, Senator, let me just go straight to the chase. You were chief of staff for Charlie Crist.
I was.
You are now supporting Rick Scott. Why?
Because Rick Scott's a good Republican who believes in the values that I believe in, and as governor, he's done a great job. Look, during the recession, we lost 1 million jobs in Florida. We're probably the hardest hit place in the country. With Rick's leadership now, we've created more than 600,000 jobs. Florida, I think, is the hottest state in the country in terms of our economy. And if you want more of that and you want our state to continue to go forward on less government and less taxing, less spending and more freedom, Rick Scott's the right candidate.
How awkward was it for you, having been as close as you were? He appointed you to fill out a Senate term, and then I'm sure he probably had an expectation, George is going to be with me. Was it difficult for you?
Well, I'm sure he's disappointed, but, I was disappointed too, just like all of the Republicans who spent all of our time helping him through all of his races. So I don't have any personal animosity against him, but when I was in the Senate, he left the Republican Party to challenge Marco Rubio, and at that time, when he left the party, I was the highest-ranking Republican official in the state. I've been a Republican my whole life, involved in Republican Party politics, even a Republican Party chair. So I stayed with my principles and my values, and I supported Marco in that race, and I'm supporting Rick in this race.
He changed positions on virtually everything, abortion, Obamacare, my gosh,
everything.
Environmental.
The embargo on Cuba. I don't think that there's a politician in modern American history who's changed more of his views so quickly than Charlie Crist.
This is an incredibly expensive race. Almost disgustingly so.
Over $100 million.
$100 million on a governor's race, for heaven's sakes. How do you think this plays out on Tuesday when it finally gets down to it? Do Florida voters say, by gosh, the economy's done pretty good under Rick Scott, didn't do so well under Charlie Crist? How does it end up?
It's going to be close, but it's not just Election Tuesday. We've been voting for 10 days in Florida. 2.8 million people have already voted. This time in Florida's history will be the first time that more people will vote before Election Day than on Election Day. Right now, Rick Scott's up 135,000 votes. Sunday's a big day for the Democrats to get people to the polls, the so-called souls to polls. I think if Rick maintains a 100,000 vote advantage going into Election Day, he's going to win.
Well, it's great to have you here. It's a fascinating race. I've never heard of a governor's race anywhere, anytime, ever in America that has spent this much money and been this close. And it is just such a unique...
it's Florida.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, hopefully the Chads won't be hanging after Tuesday. That's what we hope for. Senator, honor to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
Appreciate it.
Over the past couple of weeks, I've asked you to send Bibles and even sermons to Houston's mayor, Annise Parker, to protest her bullying of the local pastors there. Well, I wonder if Mayor Parker has had enough. We'll talk about it next. Stay with us.